525,000 moments so dear. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year? In daylights, in sunsets, in midnights, in cups of coffee, in inches, in miles, in laughter, in strife, in 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year in the life? How about love? How about love? How about love? Measuring love. Seasons of love. Seasons of love. 525,600 minutes. 525,000 journeys to plan. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a life of a woman or a man? In truths that she learned, or in times that he cried, in bridges he burned, or the way that she died. It's time now to sing out, though the story never ends. Let's celebrate, remember the year in the life of friends. Remember the love. Remember the love. Remember the love. Measure it love. Seasons of love. Seasons of
The talk title today is God is Not Motivated If You're Not. And I was thinking about that, and where does that come from? God is not motivated. So I always felt like, what is he waiting on? He's waiting on me to be motivated. He's waiting on you to be motivated. He's waiting on who you are. So then does that make God an entity that's outside of me? Absolutely not. How many people, I got a question, yes, think about this. How many people in your life have really influenced you? And how many people have given you your values and where you view life and how you view life? No matter how that looks, no matter where that looks. I can tell you that that's a good thing and a bad thing. Because some of those things that those people have influenced you on have allowed you to kind of have that tunnel vision, which isn't a bad thing, but also it's not the philosophy of what Ernest Holmes would put into his book, The Science of Mind. And I want to talk about the science of mind just for a moment. Ernest, it's a philosophy, and Ernest did his best job to relate to you on that presence of God is in you. That you don't have to go out and look for it. That it's right inside of you. And if it's inside of you, then what is this statement? God is not motivated if you're not. Which means that God is part of you. God is the reaction of you. God is the feeling of you. God is everything that is you. And you that of God, or spirit, or higher power, however you look at it. So, Courtney and I were driving to work today. God works in so many mysterious ways. I was thinking, like, what kind of example can I give when I'm standing up there today? And on our way to the center today, up here in Berrien and White Center, it was so foggy. I mean, literally. Courtney's like, you can't even see the stop sign. You can't even see this. You can't even see that. And I'm like, yeah. And as we drive up to it and as we get closer to it, ooh, here's the stop sign. And ooh, here's these lights. But it was very, very foggy. And we just had to have faith. And I said to her, I said, well, it's a good thing that we know our area. We know where we're going. And that is a lot of what this kind of speaks to me. Is kind of what is God waiting for? It's waiting on me. Source is waiting on you. So, Ernest, there have been so many books written about this, but the Ernest Holmes philosophy that comes to me and it reminds me of the fact that it's just this book that's given me something that I can reflect back on and stimulate something inside of me. I highly recommend that you read it, listen to it, put it on tape, have your parents read it to you, have your significant other read it to you. Somehow get that voice in your head that reads The Science of Mind. Because it's not something, nowhere in that book that it tells you have to do anything. There have been many books that have been written about source or written about God that might suggest that you have to do certain things to get a certain place, to bring certain things into your life. But Ernest doesn't do that. Ernest explains to you that the connection that you have with God, the connection that you have with source. And all he does is brighten it for you. He doesn't tell you have to go on a journey. He doesn't tell you have to do whatever you need to do. Kneel, stand, eat certain foods, dress a certain way, have a certain income, drive a certain car. He doesn't do any of that. He totally just explains and opens it up to how you might look at yourself as part of being that source, as part of being that part of God. And hopefully awakens things inside of you. Hopefully brings things to your attention that you can see, I can see where I might have been a little bit limited to that. And also, like in Cynthia's case, where there's an abundant supply of it. And you're willing to give it. You're willing to share it. Because that vibration, who you are, is that source, is that God. And it does affect not only yourself, it affects the atmosphere around you. And he goes on further to say, or it says it to me, is that everybody is the same in that respect. With the amount of God that's inside of me. The amount of God that's inside of me, or the connection that I have with me, is the same that's with Courtney, or with Charles, or with Cynthia, or Lorianne, or Gail, or everybody who's here, or everybody who's online. There is no less than. There's no more than. There's only is. And if we can grab onto that concept that in that respect, we are all the same. That we have that all in us. That allows us to have that connection. Which goes back to, God is not motivated if we're not. So what does that really mean? Ernest talks about it in The Science of Mind. If there's something that somewhere we feel we are lacking, which is another statement that has been brought up when we were, some kind of concept of what lack is. We can change that. Why? Because we have that God presence inside of us. We have that Spirit presence inside of us. What hangs us up when we do that is that we put our own values on that, and rather than letting Spirit take its own course. Allowing Spirit to take its own course. Which means that I bet, as we do that, we put some kind of time frame on it. If I don't have this, by this. If I don't do this, by this. If I don't see this, by this. If I don't, if. Which is an interesting thing, because we don't know what the concept of God or Spirit is. So we get anxious. We get anxious. When am I going to see that stoplight? When am I going to see that light in the fog? Well, the point is that you have faith that there is a stoplight and there is fog, a light in the fog. And that's the same thing when we start thinking about what really gets our heart ticking, really gets our mind going, really gets our body moving, which really gets us excited about stuff. We allow the media to influence us. We allow people who are so close to our heart to influence us. I think of other things such as, like, when you go to the doctor, or when we used to go to the doctor and see him face to face, they'd come in. What would they do? They would come in and they would say, "How do you feel? What are your symptoms?" And then you would say these certain things. "I have a stuffed up nose. I got a congested chest. I'm coughing at night." Whatever the situation is. "I'm not sleeping good. I got a pain in my back," whatever. And then from that, they evaluate what it is, and they go, "Oh, you need this," or "Oh, you need that," which might not be the truth. We allowed them to, and then we do that. And then we do what they say, and then we have another effect after that. And then we go back in and we go, "Well, I don't have a pain in my back anymore, but man, do I have a headache." "Oh, well, here, take this." We need to put our faith into the fact, not that this person is a bad person or not. The doctor's not a bad person at all. But we need to put our faith in the fact that maybe if we just relaxed into what we're thinking and how our bodies are aching and listening to our bodies, which is what? Which is God, which is Spirit, saying, "Hey, pay attention." But I can't react. The Spirit, and God is not motivated if you're not. God doesn't react to it unless you say something, or unless you feel something, or unless you're connected with that. So there's nothing really wrong. God's just saying, "Tell me what you want. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you need. Tell me, talk to me. Be connected with me." And then have the faith that I will do that. Don't put a timeline on it, because you never know. You never know. I mean, shoot. Another example of that may be critics when they talk about a movie or talk about a place to eat. And you listen to that. I mean, if that was the case, William Shatner would have never done The Wrath of Khan, because they said he looked like he read the lines in the motion picture. And if I allowed myself to believe that, I would have never went to see it. Or if you're thinking about something, think about the people who you trust for their statement. My wife, perfect example. If I ask her, what do you think of a show? What do you think of a place to eat? What do you think we should do? Or no, that's a bad one. But a show or a place to eat. And then she says, "Well, I really didn't like such and such. I really didn't like this place, or I really didn't like this movie because blah, blah, blah." And because I have so much faith in her, and I believe her so much, that I go, I'm not going to go see that movie, or I'm not going to go see that show, or I'm not going to watch that, or I'm not going to eat that food, or I'm not going to do that. Why? Because somebody who I thought very highly of had their opinion of it, and I allowed myself to sink into that. When what I should have done is I should have went and ate there myself. Or in this case, "God, help me with this. Help me understand this. We're in a season of giving right now. Help me with this. Help me understand this." Now, what God knows about me is I need to have a sign, or maybe not a sign, or something that's put in front of me where I can see it. I don't do so well internally. I need to see it externally. So God has given me He's showing me, Source is showing me stuff all the time. I'll think about something for a little while, and I'll go, I really need to see this. I need to see it in action. And then God says, "Here, let me show you." Before, I wouldn't have done that. Why isn't God out there? Isn't God supposed to come to me? So that creates a separation. Ernest Holmes, there is no separation between you and God. No matter what anybody says, no matter what anybody tells you, no matter what you watch, no matter what you read, I'm telling you right here, standing in my faith and for you, that there is no separation in God. None. source, higher power? None. And if Ernest Holmes' book, The Science of Mind, gets to you, then there is another book that puts it kind of more in layman terms, and that's Living the Science of Mind. Living the Science of Mind. So Ernest is painting this picture for you. And if you have faith in it, well, some people will say, can I read something else? Of course you can. Of course you can. There's many books and many people out there that have written stuff about the connection between you and your source. Me and my source. The point is that to wake up to that even more, because it's inside of us. It's not hiding from us. It's a feeling that I'm sure it's a feeling that we can describe, but that would be my feeling versus what Courtney's feeling might be about it. And to be strong about it, and to know that you're not alone. To know that you're not by yourself. To know that there's places and things out there that are welcoming you. Are welcoming you. And waking up to that and feeling that and knowing that. And everything's a reaction, right? If we see something and it stimulates something inside of us, we're all excited. Hence the word excitement word. And that's source. That's God working through you. And that's your brain connecting. Your mind, body, and soul connecting with all that. And feeling that and knowing that. And having part of that. The other side of that, there's things that happen to you that might not feel so well. And that same feeling, that same everything is all connected. It's how we view it. Why does something have to be wrong? Why can't it be an experience? Why can't it be education? Why can't it be something for you to know for the future? Why do we have to place the word wrong on it? I don't know. That's maybe the society we live in. Maybe that's the environment we live in. Maybe that's the thought process that we have. I don't know. But if we can take that wrong out of it, I mean, what really is wrong? If God is all there is, and if God is perfect, whole, and complete, and we are part of that source of that God, then wouldn't we be perfect, whole, and complete? Then how can it be wrong? It can't be wrong. Good and bad. Why does it have to be good or bad? Why do we have to be black or white when it comes to that? Why can't we kind of play like in Star Trek, the neutral zone a little bit? Hang out in the middle of that. Why, where do we get the feeling from hate or discomfort or not liking somebody? Why? We're all connected. We're all connected. There's been some events that are happened right here, right now, within the last 3-5 months. Some people have struggled with thinking that we're all in this together, but we are all in this together. No matter what angle, no matter what view, no matter where you're at, looking at it, we are all in this together. And God's not motive if we aren't. So if we get compassion and we get excited about something and we really want something to happen, we start moving into that. We start projecting that. I mean, yeah, this mask thing's a hassle, but it's essential. And at some point, it's going to go away. And if we can look at the things, the value that brings to us, if we can look at the things that that make us tick through that and get us excited and get us pumped up. You know, there was a point that nobody could be here. And look at you all now. I mean, things do change. We just need to have faith. We need to have faith. Hope's another good one, but faith is great. And that comes from asking. That comes from changing our mind thought. That comes from calibrating. And some of us are way more willing to do it than others, which is fine. But just take that tiny step. I'm not here to judge how much or how little or any of that. I'm just saying, take your step. Take a step forward. No matter how big or how small that looks to you. Put out that vibration. Ask God for help, because it's really you. Read Ernest Holmes, Science of Mind, Living the Science of Mind. Start connecting with those things. If you need support, get a hold of Gail or I. If you need anything, ask. There's nothing wrong with asking. You need prayer? You just witnessed Cynthia Zink up here. She's an awesome, awesome prayer. Awesome prayer. I'm sure she doesn't mind me saying get a hold of her. Know that whatever you're thinking is a direct connection to Spirit, to God, to Source. And it does have an effect. It basically has an effect on you, and then it sets out the vibration, has an effect on everybody around you. So just remember that connection in God. And be motivated and understanding about that. Feeling about that. And be happy. Be excited. Life is good right here and right now. Can't go back. You can't go back. And what you're setting forth right here is what's going to happen the next moment, the next day, the next month. We don't know the future, but we certainly can sit in that. And that's God. That's Spirit. That's Source. So just know that. So let's just know that. So, be excited. So let's just pray. Let's just pray all that in. Let's just feel that. Let's feel the vibration that's happening right here and right now. Oh. Knowing that no matter what has happened in the past, it doesn't affect us. It's what's happening right here. It's the God inside of you. It's the feelings that you project. Knowing that you do mean a difference. You are all connected with everybody around you. And feeling that and moving into that, be grateful for what you have. And be grateful for the things that are coming your way. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to read more, hear more, and walk into what that can, and feeling that connection of God in you, Spirit in you, Source in you. Just know that giving that thanks with your hands out is not only for giving, but also for receiving. Receiving. So be motivated. Be excited. Feel that God presence inside of you. Just by releasing these words, knowing it all to be true, we just say, and so it is.
Distress just isn't something new. We hear there's nothing we can do. So many are starving, sick, or dying. Where's the point in even trying? I tell you, I believe we can all have all we need if we just open up and pray. Take a new step every day. Find the courage to stand my ground. Find the courage to not back down. Walk in faith, make the leap. The tide is high and tide. change I wish to see. Yeah, it is done as we believe. So I will live with grace and ease. I'll stand my ground in the